evening and welcome to Primetime News. I'm Sandro Ferdinando.
And I'm Nicola De Souza. Let's take a look at our headlines.
Railway strike continues. Government calls trade unions to abandon strike and to the discussion table. President expresses his stance on the railway strike action. Minister Sajith Premadasa in an exchange of words with former Minister Wimal Veerawangsa. Ministry of Rural Economic Affairs violates parliamentary monetary powers and goes ahead with making an advance payment for importing dairy heifers.
ගෙවන්න මුදල කවුද ගෙවන්නේ? මා ජනතාව විදින වේදනාව කවුද ගෙවන්නේ? ඒව ගෙවන්න කවුරුත් නැහැ. ඒව ගෙවන්න කවුරුත් නැහැ.
උන් අතේ තියද්දි මා ජනතාව බිල්ලට අරගෙන උන් කරපු දේ සාධාරණීකරණය කරන්න යන්න හදනවා නම් මේ රටට මොකටද
මේක මා හෙන ගහන බලන්නේ හරක් හදන මිනිහා වුණත් හරක් ටික හවස ගෙදර ගෙනියනවා යකෝ මා ජනතාව අපේ තියාගෙන මුන් කරන මේ කාලකන්ණි වැඩ
දැන් එක්ක දොස්තරවරු අපි අපහසුතාවයකටපත් කරනවා එක්ක සීජාර් එක අපහසුතාවයට යකෝ මේ හරක් වගේ අපි ගෙනල්ලා දාලා ගෙනියන්නේ නැහැ නේ
මෙහෙම ආයි ස්ට්‍රයික් වෙන්න දෙන්න බෑ මුංග ගාලා එනවද එතකන් මේ සතර නවත්තන්න එපා
Now, we at Newsfirst are extremely concerned of the situation that has arisen, especially following the trade union action that took place last evening. Now, the events that transpired can be viewed in a political angle and in a trade union angle, but we at Newsfirst unconditionally stand by the people of this country, and we will always stand by the people of this country. Now, moments ago, you witnessed the incidents that transpired last evening opposite the Fort Railway Station, and as of this evening at 4:30, 7 trains and one diesel engine in total were dispatched to reach certain destinations, and some of those trains had reached Maithripala and Kandy in a bid to ease the burden that is on the people at this moment. Now, we spoke to General Manager of Railways, Vijay Samarasinghe, just a moment ago, and he said that they are trying their level best to restore operations on the main railway lines, at least by tomorrow morning. Now, the Government Information Department, releasing a statement just a few moments ago, said that the buses that are used on school service, 500 of these buses will be dispatched to ease or for the convenience of the commuters, and in addition, over 100 route turns will also be introduced for these buses. Now, the ministry has introduced a hotline 0117555555 for the general public to make inquiries from the ministry. Now, we witnessed what happened last evening, but what took place this morning and how has this incident been viewed by various quarters. Let's have a look.
A group of passengers were forced to spend the night at the Fort railway station yesterday as there were no trains in operation. The group was removed from the premises this morning and yet not a single train was in operation even at that time. As a result of this situation, there was a severe congestion for passenger transport buses and this caused bumper-to-bumper traffic across many roads in the city of Colombo. Students facing the GCE advanced level examination and office staff were in serious distress due to this situation.
There's no point anymore. There are thousands of authorities, but nothing is being done.
They don't inform us. These are all sudden.
How about the loss to the country? Those who are in parliament are uneducated. When they come into power, they promised a lot of things. So these people expect all of it to happen. We have to wake up early in the morning and travel by bus. The exams have started. How are these children going to sit for the exams?
However, this evening, 8 trains were put into operation and several of them in fact commenced operating along the respective routes. Railway trade unions on several occasions resorted to strike actions requesting their salaries to be increased to the M2 salary grade in the public service. Cabinet appointed a subcommittee headed by Minister Dr. Sarath Amanugama to inquire into the issues put forward by the railway employees. Though an understanding was reached to transform the railway services into a more inclusive one and change the salary grades, trade unions allege those promises have not been fulfilled.
At a cabinet meeting in May, Minister Mangala Samaravera did not show any objection. The cabinet paper was approved. In addition, at the committee headed by Ministers Rajitha and Amanugama, there was representation from the Finance Ministry, Public Services Commission and the Treasury. None of them opposed this. One cannot change these salary issues and pension issues. For 2 decades, it has become important. That happens, the trade union action will continue. There is a bigger issue than a salary anomaly here. According to a circular in 2006, the salaries for various positions were brought to one scale. So station masters are saying when the seniors and the juniors have to work on something technical, they cannot work together. Our cabinet committee submitted recommendations to cabinet. It is the ministry who has to take action from there on. I am always on the trade union side. We have to work closely with technical trade unions. At the cabinet meeting the day before yesterday, the finance minister analysed a report presented by the committee and myself. If we went through with it, it would have created another salary anomaly among 28 other similar grades. So this was explained to cabinet. After discussing this matter, the cabinet of ministers postponed the proposal without coming to a final decision nor rejecting it. A decision was only taken to study total salary situation and compile a report. We call on the trade unions to come for a talk with us. If this salary hike which has been requested was implemented, the salaries of railway drivers will increase much greater than that of school teachers, principals and doctors. The President ordered me to draft a cabinet paper by next week to appoint a commission to increase the salaries of not just railway employees but the salaries of all state sector employees. If those who are engaged in the railway strike action stop being selfish and wait for another 2 months for the salaries to be amended for the entire state sector, they will receive a positive response. A report will be presented inside 3 months. We request them to call off the strike until such time and come for talks. Until the strike ends, buses can operate without a route permit. If there are other provincial or private buses and if they want to come forward for a special bus service, they can speak to the Finance Ministry and we will pay them to operate buses on the streets. Addressing a program to launch the planting of 100,000 Ayurvedic plants today, President Maithripala had this to say about the railway trade union action.
This railway strike was launched when children who had sat for the examination were about to return home. If only they thought about these children. These people who are on strike are parents of children. Do they not think about the plight of these children? May it be the doctors or anyone who constantly launches strike actions, if they think it hurts the government, it is a complete myth. Strike actions do not hurt the government. It is the poor and innocent people who get hurt the most. I too am a person who travelled in the Colombo-Gampaha train for many years, so I know very well that among the passengers and children who travel in that train have nothing but the season ticket in their pockets. Some of the school children only have the packet of rice made from home and the season ticket. Even some of the poor state sector workers and poor private sector employees have just their season ticket. Some of them get a meal from their workplaces. If they want a sip of water, they drink off the tap you find at the street or even a train. They do not have money for even a bottle of water. But these are things you should feel in your own conscience. I would like to ask our friends who are on strike, can you achieve these things through such measures?
The issue basically surrounds salary anomalies. Now, when you speak of salary anomalies, over the recent days or even today, many express views about the salaries of MPs and ministers. Even yesterday, one particular MP went on to say that his salary is 65,000 rupees and he gets taxed for 67,500 rupees. Very odd figures, but when you do the math based on the Inland Revenue Department formula, you can establish how much this particular individual is getting paid as a monthly salary. Now, the railway employees who engaged in a trade union action yesterday don't get paid in hundreds of thousands of rupees. However, there is an issue. Now, when this issue is put forward to the public representatives in Parliament for an answer, in Parliament, those public representatives discuss about matters surrounding their salaries and benefits. Now, MP Vimalavira Dissanayaka, speaking in Parliament today, had this to say.
When a proposal comes forward to increase the salary of an MP in a legal way, there is massive opposition to that. I am a member of Parliament and I get a monthly fuel allowance of just 60,000 rupees. Every month I have to spend 150,000 rupees for fuel to attend Parliament and to attend to my public service. Those who say a salary hike is not needed are those who have stolen, have property, own bars or even own hotel.
So now we live in an era where those who are rogues are in Parliament, but in fact they are the ones who needs to be behind bars. Now, it is highly unlikely whether these people in power are not aware of the situation that has arisen in the country. Now, the President, the Prime Minister, the Finance Minister and all those others responsible are aware of this issue. But those in government were not even capable of solving this issue in a matter of hours last evening. And the issue is still remaining unsolved even as of this moment, because this issue did not pop up overnight. Now, we are not siding with the trade unions because what they did yesterday was not acceptable. It was wrong. But if the government is expecting the people to use force against these trade unions, the people should not engage in such action, but they must demand that proper action be taken to address the issues. Now, the trade unions yesterday did the unthinkable by causing distress to the students who are sitting for the GCE advanced level examination. After midnight, when the people have already gone home and the students have no issue to worry about. Now, watching us right now, there are many of those who would reprimand us, who would blame us for using our airtime for such matters. But we must stress the fact that we will never fail and we will never take a step back when it comes to standing on behalf of the people and reporting the truth for the people of this country. Now, at the same time, the government seems to be very thrilled when the people took matters into their own hands last evening, as you witnessed how trade union members were being scuffled and pushed away by the members of the public. But the government seems to have forgotten that the people in the trade unions themselves are people. Now, in this case, no one is right. Now, when you take a look at other incidents like the Bond Commission, we saw the revelations that were made at the Bond Commission and the report tabled in Parliament, but the debate on the report was postponed simply because Parliamentarian M.S. Sumandiran was not happy that there was no Tamil translation of this report. Now, this is in fact being said by the very person who makes countless statements to Parliament in English, because the English language report was tabled in Parliament. Now, ever since this government came into power in 2015, the main thing that they addressed was their salaries and their benefits. Now, just as the bond debate, we also witnessed a debate that surrounded the statement made by Minister Vijayakala Maheswaran, and that debate went on for days because of what she said. But have a listen to what the people are saying now. Now, the politicians might seek revenge on the people for what they are saying, coming before the media, but the language that the people use, isn't it the very language that these parliamentarians are using in Parliament when they get up from their seat to address issues? Let's shift gears and move back to 2003 in Singapore. Back then, the Singapore Airlines pilots were preparing to stage a strike. The first Prime Minister of Singapore, Lee Kuan Yew, the manner in which he handled that situation was praised all over the world, and it is a timely aspect even as of now. Let's have a listen to what Lee Kuan Yew had to say in 2003.
I can tell you that when I met the SIA pilots, I didn't meet them on TV. I met them face to face, 5 feet across the table, so they can see me and see whether I'm still vigorous, able to campaign and take them on. And I offered them 2 choices. Either you argue, you stop this intimidation, which is what it was, ruining his reputation, millions of dollars worth of advertisements and sales ruined within a matter of 2 weeks. I gave them a choice. Continue this, and I will, by every means at my disposal, teach you and get the people of Singapore, help me teach you a lesson you won't forget. And I'm prepared to start all over again, or stop it, get back to work, restore discipline, then argue your case. Took them 65 minutes, and they decided, okay, it isn't worth the fight. Why? Because they know they'll lose. They know that I'm prepared to ground the airline. They know that I can get the airline going again without them. And let there be no mistakes about this. Whoever governs Singapore must have that iron in him, or give it up. This is not a game of cards. This is your life and mine. I've spent a whole lifetime building this. And as long as I'm in charge, nobody's going to knock it down.
This is not a game of cards, and that is exactly what Lee Kuan Yew said. Do you remember the bond scam? You remember the bond commission? Now, this issue that has arisen, will it meet the same fate of the report of the bond commission? Will it be forgotten by those responsible? Now, while many revelations were being made at the bond commission and even afterwards, those who are supposed to be behind bars are roaming freely, and some who are in the open are not even in the country. In fact, some of the decisions that are being taken today are being taken by the very people who are supposed to be behind bars right now. Some might even question, will there be any use of telling these issues to the President or even the Prime Minister? Now, when it comes to the Prime Minister, remember, he is the one who said in Parliament that he insisted in the change of the bond issuance system back in 2015. But when you look at the statements that he is making now, you can see there's a clearly different aspect into what he is saying. Now, who is the real leader of the country? Who is the person responsible? And who is, in fact, engaged in governance? Who is governing this country? Now, the people have started to speak their hearts out. Let's now have a listen to a statement made by one member of the public. The language may be different, but the message is very clear.
අර රනිල්ට යන්න කියනවනේ ගෙදර මේ මෙහෙම කරනවා දානේ මිනිස්සුන්ට හැමදාම අපි ටිකට් නැත්තම් දාලා ගහනවා. හරි? මුං ඇයි මේ කාලකන්ණි වැඩ කරන්නේ හැමදාම මිනිස්සුම කොළඹට ඇදලා ඉවරලා හන්දාවට ගෙවල් වලට යන්නේ නැහැ. අපි දුක් විඳලා අපි එන්නේ රස්සාවට. අපේ වයස බලන්න. අපි ගෙවල් වල ඉන්න ඕනේ මිනිස්සු නේද? රස්සාව කරලා මේ පරවල් කියන බලු කතා දෙන්න පොලිසියයි දෙන්න කියලා. ඒක ඒකයි අපි කියන්නේ මෛත්‍රී අම්මගේ රෙද්ද මෛත්‍රීපාලනේ ඒ අම්මගේ රෙද්ද ඌ ගොයියෙක් ඌ ගොයි මෛත්‍රීපාලගේ අම්ම ඌ ආවෙන් පහකින් කරන්න කියලා දැන් උඩ පුටුව රත් උනානේ දැන් හරියාසේ ඉන්නේ ඔය රජ පුටුවේ ඕක යන්නේ නැහැ අපේ බල්ලටම අපිවත් මේ පුකට ඇදලා දැන් මේ රනිල් ඔච්චර අපිට UN කාර්යෝ නැද්ද අපිට UN කාර්යෝ මේ ගස් බල්ලෙක් එක මුද්දීක ගිහිල්ලා අපිව කනවා දැන් අර බල්ලු බැරනම් යන්න කියන්න ගෙදර පුළුවන් එකකට කරන්නේ අර ඉස්සර අර වෙල්ගමයා ඌ ගෑනුන්ගේ නම් දානවා කෝච්චියට නීනා කුමාරිත් එක මගුල් නටලා කොහොමද මයිත් එමෙතිවරු වලත්තු අර එකෙක් ඉන්නවා ටැබ්ලට් ගන්න ජෝන ඵලයක නාකි බල්ලු ගෙවල් වලට අපිලා ඉන්න දීලා රනිල්ගේ ගෑණිනේ අර වජිර මොකද කාර්යවසම් අකිල කාර්යවසම් උලයි ළමයිත් මොකට මොන නේ රනිල්ගේ කවුරුත් දන්න රහසක්
As the cost of living rises and the government continues to increase taxes to balance its books, growing concern has been expressed as to the possibility of recovering monies from the so-called Bondgate affair.
The largest financial scam ever to afflict this country since independence. An observation of the Attorney General's Department was thought to be the infamous 30-year bond of February 2015. At the time, although there was a clear conflict of interest scenario and a departure from due process, the highest in the land continuously denied any wrongdoing and permitted the then governor of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, Arjuna Mahendran, to remain in position. Experts have opined that the 2015 bond, where ₹1 billion requirement led to a take-up of ₹10 billion, has caused a loss over 15 years of ₹600 billion. Bond 2, however, saw Bond 1 pale into some insignificance. An advertised requirement of ₹40 billion led to a take-up of a remarkable ₹77 billion. With Bond 1, the Presidential Commission of Inquiry held that the public's money suffered a loss in excess of 8,500 million. Perpetual Treasuries Limited, then at the epicenter of this scam, reported profits of in excess of 12 billion over 3 accounting periods. The Presidential Commission of Inquiry held that on the matter of the loss of the EPF alone amounted to ₹8,500 million, and also noted that subject to a court decision, Perpetual Treasuries Limited would be liable to a fine in excess of ₹17 billion. There are now growing calls that the delay in investigating Bond 2 is part of an ever greater cover-up than entered into Bond 1. The Presidential Commission of Inquiry specifically asked for a forensic audit of trades entered into by Perpetual Treasuries Limited and others into the 2 bonds issued in March 2016. When Bond 1 took place, a 3-member committee of UNP-affiliated lawyers were appointed. However, that too was criticized by many. Despite the passage of over 7 months since that report emerged, the Central Bank of Sri Lanka has thus far not started the required forensic audit. The Auditor General of Sri Lanka had noted that the change of the system of awarding bonds from that which was in place since 1997 was not the least cost method of raising monies for the government.
I insisted on a public auction because private placements have led to corruption and lack of transparency.
The resulting collateral damage to the people's monies has been the reality. Bond 2 has been viewed as the proceeds of crime that was committed previously in Bond 1.
After bond scam number 1, there seems to be a sense of relief and people are going to go to sleep thinking that it's over. But it has not stopped there. This is only bond scam 1. Bond scam 2 has to be investigated. There was a recommendation by the Commission of Inquiry with regard to bond scam 1 to conduct a forensic audit. A forensic audit will show the actual loss the government of Sri Lanka has suffered.
Beneficial owner of Perpetual Treasuries Limited, Arjuna Aloysius, and its CEO, Kasun Palisena, were further remanded until the 23rd of August.
Arjun Aloysius and Kasun Palisena were produced before Fourth Magistrate Lanka Jayaratna this afternoon. Today, the magistrates issued an order on 13 state and private banks to release the monthly bank statements of Perpetual Capital Private Limited, Perpetual Capital Holdings Private Limited, Perpetual Asset Management Private Limited and Perpetual Treasuries Limited before the 24th of August. These bank statements are required for the investigations carried out by the central bank with regard to PTL illegally generating profits at the bond auction. Senior State Counsel Lakmini Girihagama informed court that the companies mentioned above have been evading the provision of these documents, citing various reasons. The magistrate to issue an order to release those funds. The magistrate ordered the Attorney General to provide written submissions before the 23rd of August.
A group of Samurdhi officers who engaged in a one-day strike action launched a protest on the access road to Parliament today.
General Secretary of the All-Island Samurdhi Development and Agricultural Research Union, A.D. Jagat Kumar, said the current government has failed to implement the Samurdhi Officers Pension Scheme, which was introduced by the previous government. Samurdhi officers launched a demonstration opposite the Parliament roundabout, presenting several common issues including the non-payment of pensions, salary increments, relief to officials who have passed away and officials who have retired, and promotions. The road was blocked by police when the protesters marched towards the Parliament. Heavy traffic congestion was caused close to the Parliament roundabout due to the protests. Later, the protesters marched towards Maithripala and held the protests.
There are no promotions in the Samurdhi campaign. It is stagnant and does not move forward. But the minister travels all over the country by conducting media charades, telling fairy tales to the public. If a solution could be given to this issue by protesting like this, I will also join and sit with them. But the problem here is they have not followed the legal procedure. They were not taken into government service as this scheme was used for various political agendas and especially as a vote machine in the past. I would like to say that all these officers will be given their pensions and made permanent officers within a year. I request the MPs to grant these allowances and salaries. The Honourable Finance Minister and the Speaker can intervene into this matter and provide the Samurdhi concession to at least a couple of poor and innocent people in this country. We have to solve the issues of the Samurdhi officers before solving the Samurdhi beneficiaries issue. They are happy. There are 2 cases filed in court. We have also requested the Attorney General to expedite the process. The Samurdhi will be provided to around 300,000 families this year and the remaining will be provided next year.
Minister of Housing and Construction Sadit Premadasa and his predecessor MP Vimal Veeramansa had a heated exchange of words in Parliament today.
I would like to ask the Honourable Minister of Housing whether it is true that he has brought in thousands of his supporters from Hambantota to the Housing Authority on a daily wage basis of 550 rupees to such an extent that they don't even have a place to sit. Because of this, there is an issue today where the housing authorities are unmanageable. While
we are doing development projects all around the country, I would like to say that we have no permanent staff. I would also like to say that the housing authority is not broke and that we are doing a historic number of projects. Let me tell you what we are not doing. We do not give houses to Giganage Vatsala Kumarasinghe, who is the wife of the former minister's nephew. We did not give houses to Tarangamala Muthuranavira, the wife of the former minister's other nephew. We have not given houses to people like Ajit Kumara and Vasanta Rupasinghe, relatives of the former minister's wife. In addition, we have not given the land from Mattegoda to the elder sister of the former minister.
So we'll stop that. We don't want to go into this. There's no point of order. We have to go and do this.
If you prove that even one of those people reside in those addresses, I will give up my seat.
Let me answer.
Point of order you have to give.
Please give me an opportunity.
Point of order, mic is yours. You can talk now. You can talk now.
Let me finish. We haven't given houses like he has given to his younger sister's brother, Palle Purmagamage Ananda Priyadarshana. Honourable Speaker, I have the files. I am presenting them to this house.
File fitting.
I am putting this on the Hansard. I challenge him to question me, but he does not like my answer. He has no discipline.
If you prove that even one of those people reside in those addresses, if you prove they enjoy the perks in these houses, I will give up my seat.
I will present this to the Parliament with details, information about houses in Mattegoda and Kahatuduwa that they stole from. If these allegations are false, I am ready to give up my ministry.
I challenge the minister, come for a debate on a public television channel. I would like to tell him that we have not printed counterfeit money like his sister. Nobody in our family has excavated for treasure.
If you look at his actions in the past, clearly I have presented a truthful argument. I am sad for him.
We remember how boys died after parties at his house. We also heard the stories about Viagra in his house and how people died. In addition to granting houses and property for his relatives, several other allegations were raised against Vimal Veeravangsa in the past. Plans to construct a luxury house in Battaramulla, misusing vehicles of the Housing Development Authority, using 2 passports, preparing a passport for his wife with false details, the mysterious death of a youth at his residence in Kadwela. These are just a few. Cases pertaining to some of these issues are still being heard.
A proposal to increase the salaries of the members of commissions was passed in Parliament today. The proposal was presented by Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe. During the debate, UMP parliamentarian Mujibur Rahman expressed the following views.
Come. I asked him for a time and he said no, just come by. He said, Eva, I want to make you a Supreme Court judge. You don't mind, do you? These are the words of Eva Vanasundara, a Supreme Court judge. It has been taken from the Desha newspaper published on the 6th of July 2014. Mahinda Rajapaksa calls her while she is on her way home and offered her an appointment. That is how you appointed judges to the Supreme Court. Today you are talking about the commissions. The commissions which were established through the 17th Amendment to the Constitution, President Rajapaksa brought in the 18th Amendment and abolished the commissions. This is shameful. Be ashamed. How was Mohan Peris made the Chief Justice of this country? He goes to meet Mahinda Rajapaksa on the New Year. And when Mahinda Rajapaksa's babies go to play rugby, Mohan Peris went to watch those matches. That is how he became Chief Justice.
Up next is our investigative journalist segment where we expose a government ministry abusing a power only vested with Parliament.
In May, the Auditor General producing a comprehensive report highlighted the fact that the program to import pregnant dairy heifers to Sri Lanka in order to boost the dairy industry in the country is in fact putting the entire industry in danger. Subsequently, the Department of Animal Production and Health released reports confirming the observations made by the Auditor General. The reports were based on the observations reached by the Veterinary Research Institute after having tested blood samples from the imported dairy heifers.
Now you can catch a full story on our official website, which is www.newsfirst.lk.
And with that, we wrap up tonight's primetime news. Thank you for joining us. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Nicola De Zoiza.
And I'm Sandro Ferdinando.
Take care and good night.